Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. This has been a bloody good week. I think this is probably up there as one of the best weeks that we could have ever had as Chelsea fans. It's finished Manchester City 1, Chelsea 2. We go 1-0 down. Edouard Mendy saves arguably the worst penalty of the century from Sergio Aguero. And then Chelsea go on to win the game in extra time, or injury time, should I say, not quite extra time. That might be a precursor for the Champions League final, but it has been a mad week and it's only about to get madder. We've got FA Cup finals, we've got Champions League finals, we've got Arsenal in midweek. If you are not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, the George Benson football channel, I would love to ask you to do so, because between now and the end of the season, there's gonna be emotions. If you think I was close to tears, which I was in absolute floods of tears on my Instagram live, if you wanna see how it really feels to be a Chelsea fan, then subscribe to this channel because it is about to get wild. And let's talk a little bit about that win. I'm sorry that this video didn't come out straight after. I was literally struggling to keep my eyes open even when Alonso put it in the back of the net. It was probably the most feeble celebration for a last-minute winner against the champions-elect that you could ever hear. The cat's having a mad Barney over there playing with his toy, so I apologise for the rattling noise. Can't really take it away from him, otherwise he's just going to be annoying me. So yeah, I was absolutely bloody shattered, and I think a lot of that was down to the fact that when we beat Real Madrid, I've got to take this away, hang on a minute. Zola, I'm sorry mate, but you take in the mic and you can have it back in a minute. You're just a bit of a plonker. After the game against Real Madrid, I couldn't sleep that night because of the adrenaline, the buzz, everything was just lighting up inside of me. And then last night, I think, was the final night of sleep recovery, and I was just like, Marcus, mate, thanks for what you've just done. I'll see you in the morning. And here I am talking to you guys now. Overall, the balance of this game. I think the first 20-25 minutes of it, I think it was quite cagey. I think both teams knew that this whole idea of like a precursor to the final thing was, no matter how important the Premier League game was, it was always going to be on the back of both teams' minds. I think that they were trying to see each other out. I think Manchester City are obviously always very tight when Chelsea have the ball. But Chelsea, one thing that we've been so good at under Thomas Tuchel is how we deal with the ball in areas where we look like we're under some serious pressure, particularly Mendy, Rudiger, Aspi and Christensen. I think there were a couple of times in that first half, I think Christensen got caught out and then maybe Rudiger was a bit too advanced and City looked dangerous on the attack, and then I think Ferran Torres hit it flying over the crossbar. But overall, the way that we dealt with those sketchy moments was brilliant throughout the majority of that first half. And then, in a few moments of absolute madness, the first one where poor bit of defending, but Raheem Sterling converts, scores very well. And then the penalty. I've got to talk about this penalty because Sergio Aguero, and not that I want to jinx anything here, but there's a chance that Aguero might be able to do for City what Drogba did in 2012 for Chelsea by leaving, by scoring a winner or doing something mad in his last game. He might even end up coming to Chelsea, but that penalty, probably one of the worst things he's ever done in his life, let alone his footballing career. So Sergio Aguero goes for the Dinker Rooney. Edouard Mendy is like, you're not Wayne Rooney, picks the ball up out of the flipping air, and Chelsea have a lifeline. If we go 2-0 down at that stage in the game, I'm sure I'm not the only Chelsea fan who's thinking this could end up being a little bit dauntingly humiliating. You know, that half time would have felt very, very long indeed. But anyway, into the boxes. And despite that first half not being so great, I wanted to talk about that before we got into anything, because the second half is what I really want to focus on here, because we were absolutely magnificent in that second half. I don't think anybody should underestimate just how big of an achievement yesterday's result was. Beating Real Madrid and Manchester City, who were the European finalists, champions-elect still in the Premier League, not quite done yet, but it will be. It's a sensational achievement, and I want to keep this video as positive as possible. We move, bit me inside of my lip, we move into box number one. So box number one, it's gotta be for the match winner, Marcos Alonso. When I saw the lineup, I was like, oh, rotation, it's Man City. Like, is Tuchel just looking at this game as like one that we can kind of put to bed, and then we worry about getting the Champions League spots by beating an out of sorts Leicester City in that penultimate game of the season? But no, Marcos Alonso comes in, even though I looked at it and thought, would have been nice to see Ben Chilwell, but Chilwell gets the rest. Alonso comes in, and in classic classic Marcos Alonso fashion, he scores a winning goal in the last minute of the game. And normally, Marcos Alonso, when he connects with the ball, be it on his left foot or his right foot or his head, he's very often a man to make a very clean connection. However, I don't think I will ever be so pleased to see Marcos Alonso not perfectly connect with a football again as I was when he put that ball in the back of the net last night. I'm sat there thinking, surely we're on the attack. Last minute of the game, surely this week cannot get any bloody better. And Marcos Alonso, a man who has always been either loved or hated. He's done some absolutely wondrous things in a Chelsea shirt, some absolutely downright bizarre and awful things too. But last night was a vintage Alonso wonder moment, and I'm so glad that he got the winner, because every time he plays, I just have a feeling he's going to be a game changer in one spectrum end or the other end of the spectrum, you know what I mean? So Marcos Alonso gets box number 1. Box number 2, I've given to Hakim Ziyech. All of the time when I think about Chelsea going into big games, even though Ziyech hasn't quite blown me away this season, I've not made it any kind of secret here that I expected more from Hakim Ziyech. However, in the games that he is starting, particularly since Thomas Tuchel came in, I believe that he is becoming more and more important in this Chelsea side. And I think one of the best things that Tuchel has at the moment, against the big teams at least, is the unpredictability that even we as fans feel towards Tuchel's team selections. It's almost impossible for an opposition manager to tactically prepare for a game against the Tuchel side because they have no idea who's going to play. And when Hakim Ziyech came in yesterday, I'm like, I like this because Ziyech is a big game player. I put him in my starting 11 if you saw my preview over on Twitter, because I ran out of time to post it on YouTube yesterday as well. It's been a hectic week. I'll explain it all very soon. Hakim Ziyech, the goal, fantastic. He hits it low and hard into the bottom corner of the net, sets Chelsea underway in that second half for what could go down as a very famous comeback if the season ends as well as it might just do. And that goal sets us on the way to the win. And if we get the top 4 now, regardless of what happens in the finals, I think this has been a phenomenally successful season. And I think credit to Ziyech. He was trying to make a lot of good crosses in the first half, when I think City were definitely the better side. As the game wore on, I thought that he actually grew in importance as well. The right place, right time, arriving in the box. Credit also, by the way, to Cesar Azpilicueta, who yesterday became Chelsea's highest ever assisting defender in the history of the club. So massive credit to Azpi. I've not given him a box for that today because I wanted to focus on a couple of other individuals and some other things that aren't just individual players, because I think this victory cannot be understated. But we move into box number 3, and you guessed it, what a week it is. It's another green box, and it is for the man who I believe was the game changer yesterday for Chelsea, Callum Hudson-Odoi. This guy deserves a lot of credit. If you break down minute by minute what he's done since Thomas Tuchel came in, it is still a bit baffling that he doesn't start more games. However, I also can't question it because of what we're doing at the moment. Do you guys understand how special of a moment this is right now to be a Chelsea fan? I really hope you do. And if you do, please hit the like button on today's video, because we're doing bits. We are working wonders in the world of football right now. All of the world is watching Chelsea right now in awe, impressed with what they're seeing. Callum Hudson-Odoi came on and totally changed the game. The injection of pace, that excitement to want to take players on, to drive to the byline, to cut it back, the little jinx he does past players. I really feel as though the confidence that breeds through this Chelsea squad right now, even for players like Callum, who will know that in their minds they're not getting as many starting minutes as they would like, you can see the confidence in this squad through that performance in the cameo that he had from Callum Hudson-Odoi. It was absolutely brilliant, and I hope that we can see him start a couple more matches before the end of the season, and if we could still win 2 trophies here, and top 4 will feel like a mini third as well, I really hope Callum Hudson-Odoi stays, because I think in these little moments where we do see him on the pitch, we're getting to see that absolutely blistering talent that we all believe and know that he has, that has just been waiting to erupt on the scene at Chelsea Football Club. We move into box number 4, and I feel as though after this week, I could sit and talk about my love and adoration for Thomas Tuchel for flipping hours on end. If you want me to do a podcast, please let me know in the comments down below. And I could do one just dedicated to this man, because every game we go into now, even Real Madrid, we beat Real Madrid the other day, by the way, I'm still not even over it. We beat a Manchester City away from behind. This man has worked wonders for our football club, for your football club, for my football club. Thomas Tuchel, every single little thing that this man has done, from the way he conducts himself in interviews, for me personally, on a side note, the psychological way that he approaches interviews, talking to players, I know that is translating into how Chelsea are navigating their way through these tough matches. I just know it does, because it's a big deal in football. To be psychologically ahead of your opponents, to be psychologically in the minds of your players in a way where they understand and believe in your plan, so therefore even if there is something they're not used to, they buy into it because of the way you've sold the project. And Thomas Tuchel has come in and from day one has been very clear with the instructions to his players. We know that. We also know it was an issue under Lampard. So with this Chelsea group that we always knew was clearly talented, with a lot of money spent as well, he has come in and done everything you would have expected a manager, or not expected, but everything you'd have wanted a manager to do when he comes into a side who should be performing far better than they were. And the fact that we can sit here now at the end of this weekend, after beating Real Madrid, beating Manchester City, not only am I beyond excited for the unfathomable joy that could well be the end of this season, but the future for our football club, if you hadn't already noticed, is gonna be bloody amazing with this guy in charge. I know it's always easy to get carried away, but the squad age, think about this. The average age of this squad is so flipping young. These players are only going to get better. And with Tuchel's man management skills and keeping people happy, there's only really probably been Tammy who would be really questioning, and maybe Giroud as well, in terms of the minutes they get. But Thomas Tuchel has worked absolute wonders at this club, and I'm so delighted with what he has done. We move into box number 5, and it's another green box. And for the last few weeks, all of the boxes I've been given when we've got good results in the Premier League or bad ones have been like green for top 4, yellow for top 4. Now, top 3. I'm not going to even consider chasing down United just yet, because that could be if United lose their next couple of games and then we win the next one, and then the last 2 games of the season we're like, can we bloody finish second? That would be delightful. But now, we're 3rd in the Premier League table. We've got Leicester at home and they're faltering. A few weeks ago, I was thinking, oh, blimey, you know, we lose to West Brom. Are we even going to get Champions League place next year? We might have to win it in order to do that. Now we've got a chance of winning it, but we also look like we are firmly in control now of our destiny. We're playing some incredible football. Shout out to flipping Zuma for that insane tackle, by the way, yesterday. I've not given him a box today, but I had to acknowledge that moment. Even though Mendy saved a penalty, I know you guys will be going crazy at me saying, why don't you give Mendy a bloody box? I didn't give him one because I'm sorry, but like I would have saved that penalty, to be honest. But still, he made some other good saves as well in the first half in particular. But box number 6, I've given it to a man who I was absolutely delighted for yesterday. And I think the best thing about what Billy Gilmour did yesterday was, as the game was developing in intensity, as it wore on, and particularly when it was 1-1, and Chelsea knew that we had the belief in ourselves to go and win the game, I think Billy Gilmour didn't tire against the team that were trying to run rings around him the whole flipping time, chasing him down whenever he had the ball. He became more and more impressive as the game wore on. And I honestly think that performance yesterday is absolutely all the proof that Chelsea Football Club will need, Thomas Tuchel will need, to know that Billy Gilmour is a top quality footballer who, even if we might look at him and think, blimey, he's not the tallest, he's not the biggest, is he going to be ready for these big physical games where he's not going to necessarily have a lot of time on the ball? Yesterday answered that question completely. This guy is a baller. This guy knows exactly what to do at the right times. I think that what I really liked about Gilmour's performance yesterday was that against such experienced midfielders that City had in the centre, positionally, he wasn't chasing out after things like a headless chicken. He adopted the instructions that were given to him perfectly, but was always available for the smart pass. Not necessarily the easiest pass, but the smartest passes. And I think he grew in the game as the game grew with importance and intensity. Credit to Billy Gilmour. Now, I also want to give some shout outs to absolutely everybody yesterday, but the one man who I really wanted to give a box to, but I really wanted to justify my reasons for the others, because I think I've probably been unfair on Ziyech at times this season. Alonso won the game. Callum Hudson-Odoi changed the game. Tuchel is an absolute Donny. Top three, massive. Reece James was also phenomenal yesterday. I thought everything he did was excellent. I think, again, it was a monumental display of maturity from so many of those Chelsea players. And we can win without Mason Mount, which is absolutely bloody wonderful. At least Mason Mount starting the games. But you know what it is. Big win for Chelsea. Man City 1, Chelsea 2. This has been 6 Things We Learned. Slightly longer today. If you did enjoy it, smack a like button on the video. Please subscribe if you are new. The 200k goal, it's a big goal, and maybe we won't hit it before the end of the season, but if you could tell your Chelsea friends or all your pals to subscribe to GBFC, then we could have a conglomerate of victories to celebrate here on this channel come the end of this season. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you all later. Come on, you Blues.